Austin, Tex. Minus about 24 demonstrators held a sit-in at a state building on the grounds of the Texas Capitol on Monday to oppose legislation would ban so-called sanctuary jurisdictions in Texas. The protesters called for Gov. Greg Abbott to veto the bill, which would require police chiefs and sheriffs to cooperate with federal immigration officials or face jail time and fines. The protesters and their supporters filled the lobby of the state insurance building here, an annex of the governor's office, singing and clapping and chanting, "Stand up, fight back." Many wore white t-shirts reading SB 4 for Senate Bill 4, with a slash drawn through it. State troopers stood quietly nearby. About an hour into the protest, participants sat down and blocked the two lobby entrances, defying a police request. "It's important for us to block both doors to show the governor we're not afraid," said Greg Kosser, an Austin city councilman who is the son of Mexican immigrants and led the protest. The bill has emerged as one of the most contentious issues for the Texas legislature, stirring marathon debates among lawmakers at packed overnight hearings. It passed both the House and the Senate, but in different forms, and Republican leaders in both chambers are sorting out how to proceed, sending it to the governor's desk. The version passed by the House last week calls for jail time and other penalties. Officials who refuse to honor a federal request to detain an undocumented immigrant who has been jailed by the local authorities. And it would allow law enforcement officers to question the immigration status of a person they have arrested or detained. "I am deeply grieved but wholly unsurprised. Anti-immigrant lawmakers in the Texas House have taken a wrong-headed, racist piece of legislation and made it a show me your papers bill," Terry Burke, the executive director of the ACLU of Texas, said in a statement. The governor's office did not respond on Monday to requests for comment. The bill has angered immigrant advocates around the country, many of whom see it as a variation of Arizona's SB 1070. That legislation, enacted in 2010, gave local law enforcement officials broad authority to detain people suspected of being in the country illegally, and led to lawsuits, boycotts, and the loss of conventions and concerts. Activists in Texas have been trying to build momentum for a similar backlash against SB 4. The bill already has a handful of national organizations focused on stopping it, including Local Progress, a national network of progressive local elected officials that is led by Brad Lander, a city councilman in New York City. For months, Mr. Abbott and the Republican-dominated legislature have been outspoken against local law enforcement officials who fail to comply with federal immigration guidelines. Mr. Abbott has been critical of two Hispanic sheriffs in particular, Lupe Valdez of Dallas County and Sally Hernandez of Travis County, which includes Austin. Earlier this year, Mr. Abbott canceled state criminal justice grants to Travis County over the issue. Supporters of SB 4 defend it as a simple law and order measure that would ensure that local officials do not pick and choose which laws they enforce. "I think it's a good, common sense policy. It's going to protect the safety of all Texans," said State Representative Matt Rinaldi, a Republican from the Dallas suburb of Irving. "We're talking about people who are coming through our criminal justice system who are currently deportable and are committing crimes." Police chiefs in some of the state's biggest cities have spoken out in opposition to the bill, saying it would strain the relationship between law enforcement and immigrant communities and turn local police officers into immigration agents without adequate funding or support. The police chiefs in 6 cities minus Arlington, Austin, Dallas, Fort Worth, Houston, and San Antonio were among those who signed a letter opposing the House version of the bill. Officers will start inquiring about the immigration status of every person they come in contact with, or worse, only inquire about the immigration status of individuals based on their appearance, read the letter from 2 law enforcement groups: the Texas Major Cities Chiefs and the Texas Police Chiefs Association. This will lead to distrust of police, less cooperation from members of the community, and will foster the belief they cannot seek assistance from police. Fear of being subjected to an immigration status investigation